Hey there guys, this is Kay, Coffee Queen. I'm actually sitting here tasting some of at BaristaOnDutY's coffee, some Vietnamese Caphe from Coffee. It's a light roast Vietnamese coffee. Here is the baggie that he sent. And I was just doing a little tasting, and one that I had last night was actually the Ethiopia Limu, which intrigued the crap out of me. But today we're tasting this Vietnamese coffee, and still it's kind of intriguing the crap out of me still. But here's a little bit of the rundown on what I think this tastes. Okay, so when I dumped the beans out of the bag, or when I first opened the bag actually, I got like a slap in the face of a cookie dough type scent. But it was like that was dispersed immediately, and then I got some like woodsy type smell, tobacco, molasses, a lot of the heavier scents, but by extreme contrast I smelled like onions and spice type scents. So I spent a lot of time with my nose in the coffee. The character of the bean, I don't know if you can see some of these. Anyways, they're very small beans, and which is very different to me. Well, not different, but what I see is very different is some of them have very smooth surfaces, and the others have very rigid surfaces, which is very intriguing. And then the coloration, there's a lot of variation. Are very light, and some are still about medium to lightly dark, which is kind of weird, but medium to dark. But interesting enough, the variation of color, each bean still has a very evenly covered surface. So I'm just gonna put that back right there. Okay, so the whole bean aroma, I actually separated this into two dry aroma tastes because the bean was so different. The scent of the whole beans, and what I've got is onion, spice, cookie dough undertones, some kind of veggie smell, grass scents, and I know it's very different for a lot of the coffees that I talk about, and it's a lot different than what you would normally taste in your own kitchen from day to day. And then I did the ground aroma, which when I ground it, a lot more of the sweet tones and scent came out, but it was still a little bit muted by the tobacco taste, or by the tobacco scent, and it still had that very, it still had a big onion spice kind of scent to it. And then I actually got a little bit of floral notes from it, as well as caramel. That was the sweet scent that I tasted, or that I smelled. But anyways, when we finally did immerse it in water, a lot more of the tobacco scent started coming out, and a lot of the molasses. It was very apparent, but I still got a lot of the sweet scents from the wet aroma, such as like the plum and the raisin, and the caramel undertones still came out a little bit more. But then what the overtones of it was smoked wood, which was really incredible to me. So when I first tasted it, now we're tasting here, it had a very winey licorice taste to it, and still that's when the tobacco and cigar-like taste started coming out of it. I would actually think this would be a great espresso. This is actually a light roast, but like I said, espresso is not limited to the darker roasted coffees. And right now we're halfway through, and I think it's actually very pleasurable, which is kind of different. You wouldn't think by all the taste smells that I described that you would get a lot of pleasure from this coffee. But about halfway through is when you, like, all of the scents and all of the taste that I've described before come together very pleasantly. We're cooling down right now. One of the things that I probably would suggest this coffee for is definitely espresso, like I said. Something to pair with probably a lighter cigar. I wouldn't go straight Maduro with this because then you would mask all. It would be too much overtaking, I think. And then maybe a rich which is kind of weird, but anyway, a rich chocolate dessert would pair very well with them, I think. So okay, so we're a little bit past halfway through and we're still on the cool down stage, but a little bit more of the tobacco. It's not a sweet coffee. Some sweet tones to it for sure, but it's not your everyday coffee that you would pick up and say, oh, you know, this is what I go to all the time. Although I love this coffee very much, and that's why I would suggest it with paired with certain things. Now, I did prepare it in this pour over filter cone right here, and so what I'm going to do is actually try it in a couple different preps. That way we know for sure what the best preparation and pairing it is. But that is my review so far. Alright guys, see ya.